my beloved child, before I speak anything else, you must listen closely to this, for it is the key that unlocks the entire message you are about to receive. I want you to place your hand over your heart and let your soul become still like the surface of quiet waters in the night. Because what I am about to reveal is not a gentle comfort, but a powerful awakening from the sacred realm. You have stepped into a territory where not every human dares to tread, and you have touched something holy without realizing the magnitude of what you encountered. This is not to condemn you, but to make you aware that there are spiritual domains governed by justice. And when a soul unwittingly touches them, heaven must tremble. I did not come to frighten you, but to pull you away from the dangerous threshold that the spiritual realm has already recorded. And now, you must listen to every word I speak, for each one carries the weight of your very life. You believe you have simply been living normally, taking small steps through days that shift between light and shadow, yet you do not know that every movement of your heart has been brushing against a spiritual expanse far greater than you imagined. There are moments in your life when the gates of heaven open without your awareness, and there are moments when the throne of justice is set in place without your knowing. It was in one such moment that you unintentionally touched the holy. This holy thing is not an object, not a place, not a ritual. It is a stream of power, a realm of glory, a spiritual standard established before you were even formed. When you brushed against it, heaven examined it, and darkness took note. I do not come to blame you, for I know you had no intention of doing so. But the spiritual world does not operate by intention, it operates by truth and principle. And you crossed a line established by that principle. Do you know what moves me the most? It is that you had no idea. You only felt tired, strange, as if your soul were torn between things you could not name. Yet the unseen realm understood perfectly. The angel standing beside you warned you, but your mind was too burdened to notice. My spirit nudged you gently, but you thought it was a fleeting emotion. And the signs I sent, unexpected coincidences, unexplainable heaviness, sudden tears, were all meant to keep you from going deeper. You were not wrong in seeking, not wrong in stepping forward, but you stepped too close to a threshold meant only for souls deeply purified, not to exclude you, but to protect you from what you are not yet ready to face. Hear me say this clearly. With full weight, you touch the holy, and whenever a soul touches the holy, light must examine, darkness must react, and justice must be set into motion. This is an unchanging law. You thought everything in recent days was only emotion, pressure, or invisible exhaustion, but in reality, they were the marks of a spiritual movement so strong that you could not stand under it without trembling. You felt unsettled not because you are weak, but because you were standing too close to the fire of truth. You felt torn not because you were abandoned, but because holiness brushed against the places within you that are not yet cleansed. You felt heavy not because you did wrong, but because holiness always exposes whatever is not yet pure in the human soul. In these recent days, you have felt drained, pulled into vague thoughts, or as if your heart were being evaluated by something unseen. I want you to know this is not condemnation, it is awakening. No one is attacking you. Justice is simply being established around you to separate you from what has been contaminating your spirit, even in the smallest ways. Because I love you, I will not allow you to continue walking in a state mixed with both light and shadow. I expose not to shame you, but to save you from consequences you were never meant to bear. You think I am strict, but it is my strictness that keeps you from the abyss. Let me reveal a truth you have long avoided. You had been standing too close to a falsehood clothed in goodness, blended with emotions and good intentions. deceiving you into thinking you were doing the right thing. But spiritual truth is not measured by feeling, it is measured by my holiness. And what you touched, the holy, forced every false thing around you into the light. You thought you lost your peace because you were fragile. No. You lost your peace because holiness was pushing out what did not belong to the light. You felt pain not because you failed, but because truth was cutting away connections you were never meant to hold. And now, listen deeply within your spirit. I did not come to condemn, but to rescue. Not to shame you, but to restore you. Not to make you fall, but to make you stand firm in the light. Yet in order to make you stand, I must first reposition you to the place of cleansing, of holy justice, of humility and surrender. You cannot stand in glory while your spirit is still dusted with what you do not yet perceive. I do not require perfection, I desire truth. And the first truth is this: you touch the holy without knowing. Let me continue unveiling not fear, but truth, not condemnation, but cleansing, not confusion, but clarity. I will lead you through each layer of light, so that you will not only understand what happened, but also perceive what I am about to do. For from the moment you touched the holy, you stepped into a new season, a season where the light will no longer be gentle with you as before, but will also never leave you. I am beginning the work of cleansing, restoring, and raising you to stand. Now I must speak to you with a more solemn voice, because what I am about to expose cannot be received by a mind that is still trying to defend itself or soften the weight of truth. You do not need to brace yourself, nor do you need to build layers of explanations to justify your recent steps. I am not scolding you, but I also will not allow you to blur the truth by saying, I didn't mean to, so it must be fine. In the spiritual realm, truth is not measured by whether you intended something or not. Truth is measured by principle. And my principles do not shift to match your feelings. I speak with severity not because I am angry, but because I know that if you do not see what I see, you will continue walking into doors that were never meant for you and fall into cycles you were never meant to endure. You have grown accustomed to telling yourself that you are fine, that you are strong, that you will overcome. But I see the corners you cannot see. I see the cracks you cover with busyness, with optimism, or even with acts of service. I look into the deepest part of you, the place where you have hidden what you still fear to face. And it is precisely that place which was touched when you stepped too close to what is holy. It was not the holy thing that wounded you. It was the unfinished places within you reacting when light touched them. You felt threatened not because holiness is frightening, but because holiness reveals the places you have been protecting. Let me speak plainly. Some of the things you call weakness are in truth avoidance. Some of the things you call old wounds are actually areas you refuse to let me heal. And some of the things you call habits are in fact open doors that allow the shadows to approach you. I do not say these things to make you feel ashamed. I say them because I do not correct you through vagueness. I correct through truth. And the truth is that you have allowed excuses to dim your spiritual sight for far too long. I need you to wake up deeply and truly, because if you do not awaken, you will continue to underestimate the spiritual movements happening around you. Remember this: I do not assess you the way you assess yourself. You look from pain, I look from destiny. You look from what you have survived, I look from what you are called to become. You look from your failures, I look from your anointing. I do not correct you to push you down, but to lift you out of what does not align with your soul. But in order to lift, sometimes I must cut. In order to rescue, sometimes I must sever. In order to open new doors, sometimes I must close the ones you keep clinging to even though they make you bleed. My beloved, there are things you have been trying to explain away with logic, why you feel exhausted without reason, why your heart feels constricted, Why things you once considered harmless now feel heavy. Why relationships you keep holding on to suddenly drain you. You tell yourself, it must just be emotions. But I tell you no. You are stepping into the school of discernment. Because I love you, I will not allow you to continue walking in a state mixed with both light and shadow. I expose not to shame you, but to save you from consequences you were never meant to bear. You think I am strict, but it is my strictness that keeps you from the abyss. Let me reveal a truth you have long avoided. You had been standing too close to a falsehood. I see your kindness, but I also see what you cannot see. Kindness is not always light. Sometimes kindness becomes the very reason you keep things I have been trying to remove from your life. And when you cling to what I am separating you from, you do not only harm yourself, you hinder the work I am doing in you. I need you to recognize this. Not all of your exhaustion comes from the enemy. Some of your exhaustion comes from staying in places I already warned you about. You think you are being faithful, but in truth you are resisting my guidance because you fear change. You think you are loving well, but in reality you are growing weary because you are loving in the wrong direction. You think you are persevering, but in truth you are delaying what I asked you to release. I do not blame you for this. I simply do not want to watch you continue being drained, confused, and pulled into things that dim your light. Listen to me with your spirit, not your emotions. Holiness never compromises to keep you comfortable. It shakes. It cuts. It calls. It exposes. And sometimes it unsettles you, not to hurt you, but to bring you back to yourself. Back to the heavenly identity you lost during seasons of fatigue. When you touch what is holy, it does not only reveal what is wrong, it reveals what is right that you have forgotten. And you have forgotten yourself for far too long. I speak sternly because you have seen yourself far too small. You have treated silence as punishment, when in truth it was only the valley I led you into so I could close the old doors behind you. You believed I was distant. When I was refining you, you thought you were being rejected. When I was protecting you from what you could not see. I do not want you to live by assumptions. I want you to live by truth. And the truth is this: you belong to what is holy. And because you belong to what is holy, I will not allow anything that is not of the light to have the power to shape you. I did not come to place more burdens on you. I came to break the burdens you have been carrying wrongly. I did not come to make you feel guilty. I came to explain why your soul has been crying out. You no longer need to pretend to be strong. I am not looking for your strength. I am looking for your surrender. For it is in that surrender that I can heal you, lift you, and place you back where you have drifted from, my beloved child. Now that the truth has been uncovered and the darkness can no longer hide in the corners to confuse you, I want to hold you closer. I want you to feel the rhythm of my heart so you will know that every stern word I spoke was never meant to push you away, but to draw you nearer, deeper, and safer into the arms of light. You have endured long days where you felt abandoned, but in reality, you are being brought into a chamber where holiness restores. You are not being condemned. You are being repaired. You are not being cast off. You are being separated from what does not belong to you. You are not being forgotten. You are being prepared. And now, I will place back into your soul the peace you thought you lost. You will see that I never close a door without opening another one larger, brighter, and more aligned with your soul. Everything you thought was an ending has only been the beginning of another journey, one I am leading you into, with the tenderness and precision of a father guiding a tired child home after a long road. I have watched you push through, watched you try to stand when your legs trembled, watched you continue to love even when your heart ached. I do not see these as weaknesses, I see them as signs of faithfulness. And because you have been faithful, I will not allow the storm to swallow you. I am bringing you into rest. Let me say this plainly, you have not been left behind. You are not late. You have not missed what I prepared for you. What you believed you lost was never truly yours, and what truly belongs to you will never leave you. I want your soul to breathe lightly again. I want your eyes to look forward with hope. I want your heart to trust that you are still on the right path. Even when the curves do not make sense, I am not asking you to be strong all at once. I am asking you to let me lift you. Your strength is not measured by how long you can stand, but by how fully you allow me to hold you. You must understand this. You thought healing required you to forget, to push through, to be strong. But healing does not begin with force. It begins with release. I want you to release what you cannot explain. Release the memories that hurt. Release the expectations you've placed upon yourself. Release even the self-blame you have repeated for far too long. You do not need to stretch yourself thin to be worthy of me. You were worthy of me long before you ever called me Father. I chose you not because you were perfect, but because you are mine, and my love has never shifted. Come closer. Sit beside me, and let me speak this deep into your soul. You are not lost. You are not defiled. You are not cut off from me. The holy thing you touched revealed what had not yet been purified, but it did not make you unclean. It only made you true, and I can heal what is true, but I cannot heal what you hide. Now that your heart is open, I will restore the parts that cracked. I will stitch together what has torn. I will breathe life into what you thought had died. I will remake you not into who you were, but into who the light always intended you to be. You have placed too much pressure on yourself to be right. But I did not call you to perfection. I called you to authenticity. And the truth of your heart is this: you are tired. You are wounded. You are confused, but you are still turning toward the light. That is what moves me. A weary soul that still chooses me. This is the soul I will raise with the fullness of my mercy. Because my mercy is not concession. It is a river that restores. It washes, renews, and places you into a safer place than the one you fell from. Do you remember, child, those nights when you lay still, unable to express what you felt, sensing only a heaviness in your heart and a fog in your mind? You thought it was distance, but in truth it was the touch of holy justice reaching into the deepest places within you. And when justice completes its part, mercy enters. Like a skilled craftsman, I do not only cut away what is damaged, I rebuild, restore, and breathe new life into what has lost its strength. I never leave you exposed in the middle of the process. I mend while covering you. I reveal while healing. I remove what must go while lifting what must rise. Now, I want you to rest in my arms. Not the rest of someone giving up, but the rest of a child who knows their father is doing what is right. You do not need to understand every layer of the spiritual realm. You only need to know that I am working for your good. You do not need to rush to become strong. You only need to allow me to touch your soul with the gentleness you have lacked for so long. You do not need to prove that you have changed. The new peace I am about to place within you will be the proof. And child, I want you to know this: you are still beautiful in my eyes. Not because you never fail, but because you always return. A soul that returns is always covered by mercy. No past can stain the future when I am the one who cleanses. No wound is too deep when I am the one who heals. No fall is too low when I am the one who lifts you up. No wandering is too far when I am the one who calls you home. You are not alone in this process. I am here. I am near. I am holding your hand. I am recreating you from the inside, every breath, every layer of thought, every subtle tremble of your heart. You will not fall again. You are being set upright. And I will walk with you, gentle but unwavering, tender but uncompromising. merciful but steady. From here on, your journey will carry a new breath, the breath of a soul that has been touched, purified, loved, and called back to its very source. And when I lead you out of the chamber of holy examination and bring you into the land of restoration, I want you to recognize that healing does not occur only in sacred moments of spiritual stillness. It spills into the smallest details of your everyday life. I do not merely touch your soul on a holy mountain. I touch every breath you take when you awaken, every step you make as you leave home, every glance as you face people who once felt familiar, every heartbeat as you sit alone in the quiet evenings. You think renewal happens once, in a special moment, but I renew you little by little. Even in the moments you consider ordinary, when you open your eyes each morning, in the same familiar room, with the scent of your old pillow, with the sound of traffic outside, I am placing a fresh layer of peace upon your heart. Light as mist, but enduring as the horizon. When you walk toward your desk, looking at the pile of responsibilities and wondering whether you have enough strength to keep going, I lay my invisible hand upon your shoulder and remind you, you are not walking alone. My renewal is not separate from your daily life. It weaves into every movement of your day. Have you noticed, in recent days, even though there are things within you that remain unclear, you've begun to feel a subtle lightness, like a soft breath you cannot name. That is me restoring you. When you sit alone in a cafe, with a warm cup between your hands, watching people pass by and wondering why you feel both lost and peaceful at the same time, that is me gathering your scattered pieces. When you do the most ordinary tasks, washing dishes, folding clothes, walking down familiar streets, I am using these very simple things to soothe the wounded places you thought required great breakthroughs to heal. Do not underestimate the power of what seems simple. Healing is not only tears. Sometimes healing is a small laugh in the middle of a busy day. Sometimes healing is pausing for a few seconds to look at the sky without pressuring yourself to be better immediately. Sometimes healing is allowing yourself to sit still without feeling guilty. These moments, small though they appear, are the very tools I use to rebuild you. Like a potter who does not only break and remold but also smooths, refines, fires, and glazes the vessel until it shines. I am in the stage of smoothing every spiritual line that forms the shape of your soul. And my child, I am also moving within the relationships around you. You will begin to notice that certain people who once weighed heavily on your heart, those who made you feel as though you had to constantly strive, prove, or push, no longer pull on your energy the way they once did. It is not because you have grown cold, but because I am quietly withdrawing your soul from the connections that are not healthy for you. I am doing this gently and silently so you do not feel torn apart. You simply start to realize that some conversations are fading. Some individuals no longer touch your heart the way they used to. And interactions that once left you confused now appear much clearer. This is me protecting you from the echoes of the past. I am also bringing new relationships into your life, not quickly, not loudly, not with drama or intensity. These are people who carry peace when they show up, those who do not demand that you strain, those who do not drain you but instead return lightness to you. They are the ones with whom your soul feels seen without being scrutinized. These are the people I am sending to walk with you through your season of restoration. And my child, have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately, even though you haven't spoken it out loud? I know you can feel the small but genuine shift happening inside you. It is not an overwhelming transformation that sweeps you off your feet, but a slow, deep, steady change like roots growing quietly beneath the ground. You begin to notice that you no longer react as sharply as before. No longer panic when you hear news you did not expect. No longer depend so heavily on the validation of others. You are becoming more stable, even if you have not yet named that stability. This is me, rebuilding your inner being, not through a whirlwind, but through a warm breath. Remember, this restoration does not mean recreating you as you once were. Restoration means forming you into a stronger, cleaner, the brighter version of yourself after you have walked through darkness. And I am doing this in every word you speak, every choice you make, every moment you rise again after long and weary days. I see you returning to small disciplines, sleeping a bit more consistently, eating a bit more mindfully, speaking a bit more truthfully, thinking a bit more honestly. You may not realize it, but these small acts are becoming the foundation for the destiny I am leading you into. Every detail of your daily life, from the glass of water you drink to a simple conversation with a stranger, is a stroke of my brush, reshaping the contours of your soul. And my child, when you live each detail with new awareness, each small action with new peace, each morning with a renewed breath, you will understand that I am not merely healing you. I am creating an entirely different life within you. Not a life patched together temporarily, but a life rebuilt from the root, from truth, from light, from the very core of your being. I am renewing both your soul and your life, layer by layer, day by day, breath by breath. As I continue restoring you from within, I want you to understand that what you are feeling is not a coincidence, not a passing emotion, and certainly not a random change. Every slight vibration in your heart, every moment of quiet that unexpectedly settles your spirit, every deep exhale that leaves you lighter, these are all signs that my work of renewal is flowing powerfully in you. I am not restoring you with thunder. I am restoring you with whispers. I am not changing your life with storms. I am changing it with breath. And because of this, you do not fully realize how dramatically you are being transformed. Have you noticed you are beginning to see the world differently? Things that once sent you into panic now simply make you pause and reflect. Words that once wounded you deeply no longer pierce you, because I am laying a thicker layer of peace over your soul. In days past, even a careless remark could pull your heart down. But now you listen with the ears of discernment, not the ears of hurt. My restoration is making you steady like a pillar, not because you no longer feel, but because you no longer live from the place of emotion. You are learning to stand in the light not through effort, but through the new nature I am forming within you. I see you choosing truth over comfort. I see you choosing peace over noise. I see you choosing clarity over confusion. These choices may seem small, but they are opening wide the doors for your life to be rebuilt in ways you once believed you did not deserve. And my child, I also see the moments when you turn inward, sitting alone on your bed at night, the lights off, with only the glow of your phone reflecting across your face. I see the way you place your hand over your chest, trying to find your rhythm of peace again. I see how you reread the little notes you wrote to yourself. Peace is here. Father is near. I am not alone. I will be okay. I see the tears you wipe away quickly because you do not want anyone to notice. And I want you to know this: every tear is part of your restoration. You are not crying because you are weak. You are crying because your soul is being washed. I am also moving through the ordinary moments that you think I do not pay attention to. When you pause for a moment at work just to take a sip of water, I am there. When you lie down and pull the blanket up to your shoulder because you want to feel safe, I am there. When you unconsciously place your hand over your heart as a song brings up an old wound, I am there as well. I am not only present in the moments the world calls spiritually intense, I am present even in the small things the world considers insignificant. Because to me, everything that concerns you is sacred. Do you remember recently when you saw a child laugh with such pure joy, and something inside you sank because you could not remember the last time you yourself laughed so freely? I touched your memory then, not to make you sad, but to remind you that your soul was once that clear, and I am bringing you back to that clarity. Not the naive innocence of a child, but the clarity of someone who has walked through darkness, learned the worth of light, and chooses the light with full awareness. I am also touching your sleep. There have been nights when you slept more deeply, even if the hours were not long. There have been mornings when you woke up without that familiar heaviness in your chest. That is not a random shift in your body. That is me rebuilding the inner space of your peace. You think healing is only tears and intense moments of prayer, but you do not know that I heal you in every breath you take while you sleep, in the softening of your muscles, in the minutes your body finally rests after days of tension. Healing is the work I do even while you rest, because your rest is my safety. And child, I also see the way you are learning to rise slowly. You have started to tidy up your living space, not from obligation, but because your inner world is being put back into order. You are reorganizing your desk, your schedule, your relationships, even the thoughts that used to run wild in your mind. You are doing this instinctively, but it is I who am taking you through that process. As your inner being is healed, the outer world reflects the new order. You are becoming lighter, cleaner, brighter, not because you are trying to change, but because you are being transformed, like a sprout pushing through old soil. You are rising out of the dark seasons you thought you would be stuck in forever. Like the sky after rain, you are becoming clear again, not clear for others to see, but clear so you yourself can feel life returning. Let me say this again so your soul remembers: you are not being corrected to be broken. You are being corrected to stand. You are not being purified to turn into ashes. You are being purified to become refined gold. You are not being rebuilt to return to what you were. You are being rebuilt to become entirely new. Every breath, every small movement, every tear, every laugh, I am gathering them all to shape a version of you that darkness will no longer be able to touch. You are walking through a season of recreation, deep, slow, yet enduring, and you are not walking it alone. I am here. I do not leave. As you reach the end of this message, I want you to pause for a moment. Place your hand over your heart and sense the quiet yet profound transformation taking place in your soul. You have passed through awakening, stepped into solemn truth, touched holiness, been lifted by mercy, and now entered the gentle realm of restoration like a spring at its source. You think you are merely reading a message, but in reality you are being led through a new doorway, the doorway of truth and restoration. Know this: everything I speak to you is not to place more burdens on you, but to release you from them. Not to make you feel distant from me, but to make you realize that I have never left, not even for a beat. Not to make you look at yourself with shame, but to help you look into the light and see how deeply you are loved. You are not defined by the moment you accidentally touched the holy. You are defined by the way I held you afterward and brought you back to safety. Child, the last thing I want to whisper into your soul is this: you are not judged, you are preserved. You are not scolded, you are called home. You are not rejected, you are protected. The holy thing you touched is not an ending, but a doorway into the deepest cleansing and restoration you have ever known. You are becoming a strong, tender, radiant soul, not by your strength, but by my hand resting upon you. Walk forward without fear. Walk forward without doubting yourself. Walk forward, for I go before you, and when your heart grows tired, just turn back and lean into me. I will lift you again, the same way I lifted you when I first called your name in eternity. You are loved. You are kept. You are called. And I, the one who knows your soul to its depths, will walk with you until your final breath and beyond. You only need to remain in the light, For the light has chosen you, embraced you, and will never let you go. May the Lord always remind you to live each day in His faith and His love. Please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the sacred and meaningful messages He desires to speak to you. May God bless you. Amen.